I can understand that. I know that you are yourself a child of a Holocaust survivor.
Yes, I am.
And that is as a nice Jewish girl myself, who understands as much as I can, because I didn't live in that period. I know that that is in itself a trauma because many of those people, those parents, refuse to talk about it with their children.
Yeah.
Did you have that situation? What was it like for you?
Yes, for me it was very much. There were different types of survivors, but for my mother really fell within that category of someone that didn't want to talk about it at all, wanted to just throw herself into her new life, into her new experiences, and that was behind her. That was the past she didn't ever want to talk about. So I had to hear things from snippets and put pieces together and kind of read the emotions, and I guess that's what made me so interested in people psychologically initially. Many children of survivors are, in a way, they're psychologists as children. They want to know more. They are aware of the what's going on inside. Somehow they read it, they take it in, and they try to help. Many children of survivors go into mental health fields.
Interesting. Even though you had to pry it, did you ever pry it out of her at all, or is it eventually? What age did you sort of get something out of her that was substantial?
She would tell snippets even when I was young, but just snippets. And when I was in my later teens, I did question her more, and I got more information. But still, even now, years later, and God bless her, she's in her 80s, she's still well and traveling all over the world.
Good for her.
But yeah, even now, it's sometimes she'll talk, sometimes she won't. It's hard.
It's so obvious, though, that had a huge influence on you becoming who you are and helping other people.
Certainly did.
That's got to be a major thing. I was curious if how do you keep your faith in humanity, actually, considering what reading the papers is one thing, what I read the papers, but you actually have your hands in there, doing hands-on therapy. Well, not hands-on, but that was bad idea, not hands-on, but you know what I mean. How do you really keep the faith when there's so much torture out there?
Well, over the years working as a psychologist, I've worked with more than 1,000 people, and I've seen all sorts of different types of personalities, and some personalities that you might even call morally corrupt. But the truth is, even in those that were morally corrupt, there was some redeeming quality, and I always held on to that redeeming quality to try to pull forth the humanity and the greater sense of hope and steer them to doing something positive in their lives. And since I saw something redeeming in each person I worked with, then it's not such a step to say that there's something redeeming in humanity, because it's just one person by one person by one person. I also think my religious faith helps me with believing in humanity, because I believe that God has a plan for humanity, and because he does, we just have to find it and help people move along towards it. I think that really helps hold me in the course to feeling that there's something positive we can do with this world.
I think being an Orthodox Jew has a lot to do with it, because
Yes.
you do have that faith,
Yes.
and you can find the positive in everyone and not lose hope, which is important. And how would you work otherwise? I mean, you wouldn't be able to do this work, I guess, as well as you do. I want to talk about you as an author real quickly. Never Forget My Soul is a novel by Dr. Michael Milgraum. So he is lawyer, he is psychotherapist, he is also an author. Briefly, the Holocaust touches this book.
Yes, it's an important theme in this book. Let me tell you how it came about. I initially wanted to write a book about group therapy. I love doing group therapy. It's high drama. There's so many personalities that are bouncing off each other in there, and they see in each other, they see their spouse, they see their husband, they see their children, their parents. All these themes come up in the group therapy. And so I started writing this book about group therapy. And there's a lot about group therapy in there, but suddenly the Holocaust started creeping in there. And so I found myself placing 2 children of survivors in this group and other people who had survived from trauma, and asking this question: how does a person move on? How does a person find a positive way of living? How can they trust themselves? How can they trust each other? And how can they trust God again? And that's really what the book is about.
Unbelievable that you actually sat down and wrote a novel too, and of course, with those themes. So good luck with that. And it's called Never Forget My Soul, a novel by Michael M. Milgraum.